there we go. Okay, thanks a lot for being here. Again, I'm Chad Ellis-Boykin. I'm Assistant General Counsel with IDS, Indigent Defense Services, joined by Amanda Bunch and Joshua Hummel. Amanda's our communications specialist. Joshua is in our research division. And thanks for the folks who are putting their names and county in the chat. That helps us keep track of everybody that we've reached. This will be a really quick presentation today, but it is very important for you and for the attorneys. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So you should be able to, Amanda, if you can give me a thumbs up when you can let me know if you're able to see my screen.
I can see it, Chad.
Perfect. Thank you. So yeah, this is a quick introduction session that's very specific to everybody that's been invited is a clerk or works in the clerk's office that's in one of these 18 counties. These 18 counties are the counties where we have IDS contracts. That's also known as the Managed Assigned Counsel Program, or MAC for short. So this session is limited or especially for you in these counties, and we're going to detail why momentarily. So what's going to happen is IDS is launching a new payment system, and it's a new system that's in about 50 to 60% of our counties already. It will be fully rolled out by the end of this calendar year. And your counties are unique and they're special in that they have those IDS contracts, okay, the MAC system. So most of your attorneys in your counties are still going to be using what's called defender data. That is the system that our contractors use to get paid. You will still get fiats from those contractors, but those fiats are just for the purposes of recoupment, which is that statutory requirement that if convicted, someone who has a court-appointed attorney has to repay those court-appointed attorney fees, and it's docketed as a civil judgment. So even though the attorneys that are in the contract system are getting paid outside of the fiats, you're still getting fiats from them. And that is also true of public defenders, and you're also getting fiats, but probably not very many, from the private assigned counsel. Those are the attorneys that just are in the private bar that as sort of independent contractors do work to take cases, and they get paid on fiats. So for the most part, not that many of your attorneys are going to be on the new payment system, but for a few of your attorneys, they are going to be in the new payment system, and we wanted you to understand what that system is, very briefly how it works, and also importantly to help us identify the attorneys in your counties who need that new payment system, because there is a little bit of training and onboarding necessary for us to get the attorneys who do use the new payment system, who will use it, trained and to get them access. So again, most of your attorneys will not be affected by the new payment system, but those there are a handful that will, and we'll send these slides out to everybody so that you've got them for your record. New payment system is launching at the end of next month, so we're about 6 weeks out. It's going to launch on October 29. So we're going to send a training email out. There'll be an email that'll go to the judges. There'll be an email that goes to the elected clerks, and we'll also be reaching out to the attorneys. So the attorneys in your counties that are going to need this payment system are those sort of rare cases where there's no IDS contract attorney available. Maybe those contract attorneys have conflicts and they are not available to do that case. So the court appoints a private assigned counsel to take the case. That private assigned counsel is going to need access to this new payment system to get paid. And that's why I want to make sure you know about this system and that we work with you on identifying those attorneys. Again, those are sometimes called PAC or private assigned counsel. They're also known as appointed counsel. The question for you as the clerk, if you're the clerk who's processing the fiats or tasking them in e-courts, or if you're the clerk that's docketing those civil judgments, the question for you is, how do I know who's who? How do I know who is in the contract system and who is a public defender and who is an assigned counsel? That is I would just direct you to this first, section 1, the application section in the fee app, this is where you're gonna know who's who. Any attorney who clicks this first box that says assigned counsel, those are the attorneys we're looking for. Those are the attorneys we want to get trained on the new payment system. Those are the attorneys that we need your help identifying. If you see either of these two boxes checked, either public defender, those public defenders are state employees, just like you and I are. They also take appointed cases, but they do not have to worry about this new payment system. They get paid on salary. Same or similar with IDS contract counsel. Your 18 counties are the only ones right now with that contract counsel program, that MAC program. If you see this box checked, they're telling you that they are contract counsel, and they're giving you this fiat just for the purposes of complying with that recoupment statute. So they don't need this fiat to get paid. They're getting paid under that other system. But both the public defender and the contract counsel, they're giving you this fiat just for recoupment purposes. But this assigned counsel is giving you this fiat both for recoupment and because they have to get paid using this fiat. And that new system, the new system is going to roll out, and this is for them, this new system. So this is how you know who's who, section 1 of the fiat. So this new PAC system, or this new payment system for PAC, this involves adult criminal cases only for the moment. Those are the cases that are non-confidential. So these are the cases that use that AOC CR225 FIAP. If you've got a CR225 FIAP and it's marked IDS appointed counsel, we want to know who those attorneys are, and so we can get them in this system. So OASIS is the name of the payment system that's new. It works in tandem with eCourts. OASIS stands for Online Attorney State Invoice System. So what happens is PACs submit their fiat via eCourts File and Serve. They actually do both parts. They do e-file and they do e-serve. They do service to this specific email address, oasis@nccourts.org. Then the second step is they invoice IDS directly for that case at this website, which is OASIS. It's idsbilling.org. And again, it's the AOC CR225 cases only. You don't need to know too much about this, but we wanted you to be familiar with it and to understand the basics. The attorney does file and serve. They serve this email address on the fiat, and it comes directly to us through eCourts, and then they invoice us through this billing site here, this program. This has allowed us to issue payments within 30 days of these two steps being completed. How that helps you as the clerk, I'm sure those of you who have been doing this work a long time remember the times when the attorneys might be coming to you and saying, hey, where's my payment? Where's my fiat in the process? This cuts down tremendously on that because the fiats are coming straight to us. There's a matching invoice, and we're able to pay this very quickly. However, to get access to those PAC attorneys, we need to know who they are, and we need to contact them and get them the training that they need to get into this new system. Again, in your 18 counties, most of your attorneys are getting paid through Defender Data, which is that contract system. So it's only going to apply to a small percentage of your attorneys, but for those attorneys, this is going to be really important. So we're asking for help in identifying those private assigned counsel or those non-contract attorneys that are in your counties. The reason we need your help in that is our original plan was to just get the data from eCourts that says who all the appointed counsel are. That was the plan, but there is an issue with the data in a significant proportion of attorneys who are appointed are actually listed in the system as retained, meaning that they are being paid by the defendant and then that they are not appointed. So the data has problems and we can't use that data because it's not good. So for that reason, we're having to reach out to the clerks directly. We're doing this as early as we can and trying to get the word out so that we can work with you to know who those appointed attorneys are, get them trained, and get them in this new payment system that they are going to be required to use starting at the end of October. So that's this bullet here. A lot of those appointed attorneys are listed as retained in eCourt, so we can't use that data, but we're working directly with the clerks to identify them as we go. So what's going to happen next is IDS is going to send an email about the new payment system to the attorneys in your county. We're going to reach out to all the attorneys who we have paid using a FIAP in the past 2 years. That's going to catch a lot of people, but it probably won't catch everybody. There might be a new attorney who's coming on board, taking a case, or there may be somebody who's doing a conflict for one of your contract attorneys. We can't know who everybody is based on that historical data. So that's why we're working with the clerks to get help to find out who the attorneys are so that we can get that training information to them as soon as we possibly can. So again, if you see this on an AOC CR225 form, if you see this red, what I've got circled in red here, assigned counsel, we're asking you to do one of two things, whatever's easiest for you. Either direct that attorney to this website, which is ncids.org/OASIS. This is our main website. And if you just go to our main page, ncids.org, and you scroll down, you'll see a green box that says OASIS. That'll take them here. They can click this box, this green button that says I need OASIS credentials. That'll go straight to Amanda, and she will work with us to set them up and get them everything they need. Alternatively, if you see this, you can email Amanda. This is her email address, and we will reach out to that attorney directly. However, we will email them, we'll call them, we'll do whatever we need to do to get them the information they need. So basically, this is what we're trying to do to reach everybody. If you see this situation, if you could just direct them here to this website or send them to Amanda, and we will get them taken care of from there. This last chart is just sort of a helpful resource. This is just the 3 types of appointed counsel in the state. You know, you've got your public defenders, they're paid by salary, they use their FIAPs only for recoupment. IDS contract counsel, that's in 18 counties. Those are the counties that we reached out to for these presentations. These are your contract attorneys. They have contracts with IDS. They get paid monthly by submitting their hours in a system called Defender Data. They also will submit FIAPs, but again, that's for recoupment only. This third type of attorney, assigned counsel or private assigned counsel, or PAC for short, those are the attorneys that use FIAPs. Those are the ones who get paid that way, and they're the ones who this new OASIS system is so important for launching on 10/29. They are submitting those FIAPs both for payment and for recoupment. So that is everything. We got plenty of time for question and answer. If there's anything we can answer for you, feel free to put it in the chat, or feel free to just unmute yourself and ask any questions about this new system or anything else we can help that's related to FIAPs, recoupment, assigned counsel, any of that. I'm going to go ahead and close down the slides. And again, thanks everybody for being here. It looks like we've got a good turnout. This is our final session. I see Tucker Charnes is on the call with us. She is one of our regional defenders. So many of you probably know her or have worked with her. She works closely with our contract counsel. And so she's a great resource if you have questions. Tucker, feel free to jump in with anything that you have that I might have missed related to any of this. She gave me the thumbs up, which means I did a perfect job and everybody's happy. You don't get that every day.
I couldn't find the unmute button. I didn't have glasses on. Anyway, I have nothing to add, but thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. And so, yeah, last reminder for anybody who joined late, we are trying to keep track of who we've been able to reach. So feel free to put your name and your county in the chat.
Does this include Chapter 35 GALs that are paid by IDS with the FIAP?
Good question. It does not. Those attorneys are still going to do things the same way they're doing them now. It's filing the FIAP. If you're a private assigned counsel, it'll just be filing the FIAP. It'll process through the system, and it'll get to us on the back end through the task queue. This OASIS system right now is for adult criminal cases only. So those are the cases that are using the CR225. The reason for that is we had to get this done very quickly and the CR 225 adult criminal cases are not confidential. The A&D cases are confidential, juvenile cases are confidential. We are working with AOC. We should be able to expand this into the juvenile cases probably late next year, depending on, that also is going to involve some programming. This system was programmed using by our research staff. So it was a homemade system. So there's a lot of time involved in programming, but we are looking to expand into juvenile later next year, but information will go out about that. If you're doing A&D cases or DSS, parent defense, this system does not go for that because those are confidential case types.
Okay, but Chapter
also,
35 GALs are not, those aren't confidential cases.
The A&D cases, in other words, it's not
A&D. Chapter 35 guardian ad litem's incompetency GALs. I just submitted several fee apps just now, and I choose Pat.
Yes, those are not adult criminal cases, and those don't go in. So competency matters, GALs, attorney for the day or session courts, those all don't count. It's adult criminal cases only where you're representing one client for who's an adult who has adult criminal cases. Basically any case types that use the CR 225 fee app.
Chad, we've had a couple questions in the chat. Folks are wondering if the PD offices have been notified about OASIS.
Yes, we have been working with the public defender offices. They have helped us kind of do what we're doing with the clerks and helping us identify those PAC attorneys who do conflict cases for them, kind of similar in a similar way to the contract attorneys who also have conflict cases that go out to private assigned counsel. So yes, in the chiefs meetings, we've been talking about this, and we've been working with the public defender offices.
Ms. Ball, you have your hand raised.
I have a question. If you could go to I believe the next to the last page of your slideshow, and I believe it gives the information about who you would like for us to contact.
Let's pull that back up.
I'm gonna chime in right here, Chad. I will say that after this presentation, we're gonna send out some notes and the slide deck for you all so you can have this as a reference. So you don't have to try to memorize it or go from memory.
That wasn't going to be my question, but I do appreciate that.
Sorry.
My question is we're already looking at so many things to handle fee applications. Do you expect that this will go on for very long? How will we know if, do you expect us to, every time there's an assigned counsel? I mean, I don't see my staff reaching back out to people that file fee applications and say, you need to contact this or you need to email that. So that's my first question is, do you expect this to be a short-term fix until you get people in the system?
So the length of this really kind of comes down to the data that's in eCourts. As soon as that issue is fixed, as far as as soon as all attorneys who are appointed are listed as appointed in eCourts, we won't need any help from anybody to reach any PAC attorneys. Until that problem is solved, we are just going to have to do the best we can to identify everybody. And we totally understand that clerks are overwhelmed, they're busy, it takes a lot of steps to do their jobs. So if you don't do this, nobody's going to come yell at you. It's not your responsibility to do this. This is just something we're asking for help with because we want to get these attorneys paid as quickly as possible. But as far as the duration of it, as soon as that issue in eCourts is fixed, where we know who the retained and who the appointed attorneys actually are, we won't need any help from anybody. But that we don't have a timeline for when AOC or Tyler or however, we don't really have any timeline on when that's going to be able to be fixed. So yeah, in the meantime, if you are able to reach out or direct them somewhere, that's great. If you're too busy to do that, we totally understand.
And then my second question, I believe it was 1 or 2 slides back. You say that the assigned counsel is going to not just file, but file and serve by adding an email address into the service address. My understanding is that service address is not supposed to be added by the person who's serving. it should have been added by the person who wants to be served. So I'm curious if you have checked into that to make sure, I guess you would want to get this through there. I was just concerned about using the service email address going from the person filing as opposed to the person who's being served on the other side.
Sure. Yeah, we worked with AOC, the general counsel, the BAPM team, and the management about a year ago on this process. So what happens is in the training that the attorneys get, they are trained on how to go through the steps to add this as a service contact so that they're able to do that whenever they file their adult criminal FIAPs. So that's part of that training, and we worked with the AOC team on developing that as a resource for them to learn how to do it. So yeah, so far that part's been working really well. We haven't had any issues with service.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Chad, we have another question in the chat asking about the cutoff date for when we will no longer take FIAPs.
Good question. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, the few PAC that do conflict cases, like your regulars, if you already know them, if you could send those to me, their names and email addresses, but PAC in your area are going to be introduced to OASIS on October 29th. And after November 13 is the cutoff date for those few PAC who use FIAPs for payment are going to be required to use OASIS.
And I'll do a share screen here. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. I am, here we go. This is our main website, ncids.org. And if you scroll down, here's the green OASIS button. This map gives you all the green counties or counties where OASIS is already in place and working. This is that button that we took a picture of. If you're a brand new PAC attorney and you're just starting out and you've never been paid by IDS, you click this button. This, because there's a W-9 form and some other forms for brand new attorneys. If you're already in the system and you just need OASIS access, you got this button, which takes you to the credentials. But this full rollout schedule gives you when the rollouts are happening. And the second column is the FIAP cutoff date. So this is the date Amanda just mentioned. This is the last date the attorney has to file their FIAP if it's an adult criminal FIAP outside of the OASIS process. This also has the links to the training, so the attorneys can come here and grab that training link. We're also going to email this out to them, at least to everybody we've paid in the last 2 years in your counties. So they'll have access to that both ways. But the dates for your counties, or if you have any colleagues who are like, hey, how does this work? This is where we're going. This is the November 13 date Amanda mentioned. So the training happens on the October 29, and we have about 2 weeks for the attorneys to get trained, get their access, and get set up. And then the last counties that we're rolling out to are here. And this is the end of the rollout where we'll be at 100%. So if there's no live link, that means we've already done the rollout for those counties. And if there is a link here, that's the link to the training. So no need for clerks to take any of that training. It's designed for the attorneys so they learn the process and how to get paid. It's been working really well. We're able to pay attorneys within 30 days of their submitting the FIAP and the invoice together. They do that on the same day. And so yeah, these are those MAC counties, and this special training is for you because you're the counties that have managed assigned counsel. Most of your attorneys are going to still just be on that managed assigned counsel program and using defender data, but we are aware from our payment data that there are often attorneys who take 1 or 2 cases per year, sometimes 3 or 4. It's kind of a one-off because there was no contractor available, or it was a big conflict case. So for those attorneys, those are the ones that will be paying on this new system. And Amanda, any other questions in there? And feel free to, our emails are in the going to be in the slides, so feel free to email us if anything comes up or that you think of after this. We will send the slides out to everybody, and we'll probably take one of the recordings and have that available too, in case there were any clerks that needed this info that couldn't get out of court or couldn't make it for other reasons.
And I would say if
Chad,
any attorney has a question in these MAC counties, they can reach out to me, Tucker Charnes, or Sharif, the other regional defender. But this isn't really going to affect a lot of folks because the folks that already have MAC contracts and they do work in another county, they can still, they don't have to use a fee app. So you're just not going to see, there's not going to be a whole lot more of OASIS questions, I hope, or issues in these counties, because we want everybody to have a MAC contract. So anybody that's even thinking about taking a couple of cases, I'd encourage you to reach out to me. We can talk to them about the benefits of having a contract and getting paid monthly without having to file anything with the court. So anyway, but thanks for all y'all do. I've got a 3:30 call. So if you got any questions, you can always reach out to me, but I'm going to sign off. So thanks, Chad. Thanks, Amanda.
Thanks, Tucker.
Chad, there's another question in the chat. Did we put this information out to the state bar? I recall being told that the state bar is unable to help us like kind of advertise about something like this.
Yeah, it's sort of outside of their purview as far as, because we did consider sending this information out to everybody, but that, you don't want to sort of spam attorneys who do estates or who have nothing to do with this. So no, we did not go through the state bar as far as outreach to attorneys. Like I said, our original best plan was just to use the eCourts data because that is the court record. But we found that there were issues with attorneys being labeled as retained when in fact they were appointed. And there's an issue that the attorneys are worried about with the bar because they're taking state money and being appointed. And so that's something I know that's being worked on the back end. But no, we did not sort of send it out to every attorney through the state bar. And they don't have any sort of specific data that would be useful for the specific attorneys that we're looking for. But yeah, we're open to whatever ideas folks have as far as we could even send like a little postcard that you could tape onto the counter or put in attorneys' boxes like we did when we raised rates a couple of years ago, just to sort of get the word out. We're open to anything that will help us get these attorneys paid. And as Tucker said, most of the attorneys in your counties are already on contract. If they're new attorneys, we want them to be on contract because that is a more efficient system. They enter their hours into a separate system. They get paid every month for the hours they've worked. They don't have to wait for the whole disposition to the case to be finished. But there's some attorneys who are not in that system for different reasons, and we want to make sure that they're aware and that they get paid. So we appreciate whatever you're able to do to help us reach these attorneys. We know you're busy, but we also are glad to be able to give you the information about this system. So if people ask questions about it, it's not something that you've never heard of or didn't have any idea about. So we want to make sure to be good partners in that way. So appreciate everybody's time today. Is there any other questions in the chat, Amanda, or anything else?
Nothing more in the chat.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being here, everybody. Appreciate it. We will send these slides out. I'm assuming everybody's got their information in the chat, so we can send this out to everybody. And if you have any questions after the fact, please feel free to let us know. Thanks, everybody.
Chad, if you'll stop the recording.
Yep. Oh, I'm getting a message that says we're having a